guys, it's Josh for Reviews, and today, ladies and gents, we are reviewing Hallows Eve 2. The first one is a guilty pleasure, in my opinion. It is a very guilty pleasure. It is a low-budget horror anthology about a babysitter who finds a VHS tape. And so, I saw this at Walmart. I just got done watching the first one for the first time when I was young, and I saw this at Walmart, All Hallows Eve 2, and I never really had an interest in seeing it. And then I remember seeing the first one, I loved it, and I was like, oh yeah, they made a sequel. So I saw the trailer, and I was just like, whoa, this looks chaotic. Let's watch the second one, and first off, what? This one kind of felt like this movie did not need to exist. Okay, so the movie is about a girl who finds another VHS tape, but this time it is not by... It's not by our typical Art the Clown. It is instead by some trick-or-treater wearing a pumpkin mask, and so he gives her this VHS tape, and in the first one, when it was just 3 short stories, in this one they went far and beyond and made several. There's how many? 1, 2, 3. I think there's like 7 or 8 in here. And to be honest, these shorts aren't that good. There's only a few of them that are pretty good. I'll talk to you guys about those. First off, the main story with the girl, it's boring. She just sits around watching the VHS tape, but she doesn't give a shit. Her reaction is just like, But in the first one, what made it more interesting is that it's a babysitter who's babysitting these 2 kids, so she's concerned about what they're watching, but they don't give a shit. So that added a nice levity to this. But her reaction is just like, she's the audience. She's us watching these shorts, and it's just kind of like, you're boring. You're not interested. You're not interesting. You're not an interesting character. I don't even know her name. Trisha? Becca? I don't know. This bitch is forgettable. Sorry. So the first one is called Jack Attack. And Jack Attack is one of my favorites. It was actually pretty good, and it started off the movie pretty well. I thought this was going to be like pretty interesting shorts, and Jack Attack was actually pretty well done. Had an actually pretty high budget, and to be honest, I didn't expect that coming into this. But I'll talk about that later. So Jack Attack is about this babysitter babysitting a kid, and they find a pumpkin and they carve it, and then as they eat the seeds, well, I won't spoil it. It's pretty good. The second short, I forgot what it's called. I think it was called The Last Halloween. The Last Halloween, yes. The Last Halloween was kind of boring. I really didn't get the plot. The creature effects were cool, the costume design were cool, and the setting was cool, but the story was confusing and the characters were just bad and their acting was bad. And then I kind of realized that this might not be as good as I thought, and that's when it goes downhill. The rest of the shorts are shit. Actually, that's not entirely true. The next short, I forgot what it's called, but I think it was called The Offering. The Offering, yes. The Offering was actually a pretty well done short. It's about a father and a son who have to go out in the middle of the woods to bring some kind of offering to this creature. And what's interesting about this short is we never see the creature. That was interesting. That was well done. And there's a lot of noises, there's a lot of darkness, and you don't know what's out there, and they're stuck inside this car. It's a pretty cool short. The next short was called The Descent. I don't know exactly what that one was about. Wait, hold on, sorry. I just got done watching this, and I forgot the names because there's so many. Okay, so you have The Descent, is a short about this girl who witnesses a murder, and she meets up with him again in an office building, and they get stuck in an elevator, and she's just like stuck in this elevator, broken down elevator with him, and it's kind of cool. The concept is kind of cool, but it doesn't really go anywhere, and it's kind of boring. There's not a lot of talking, and there's not a lot of interesting stuff going on, and the acting's not that good, so that short was not that good. The next short, my bad. The next short was some stupid carnival one. That one's horrible. The acting's bad, the visuals are bad, the setting, the story, it's so bad. The next one's A Boy's Life, and that was actually one of the better ones. The Boy's Life one was really, really good. The acting in that one, which I know I've seen the main actress before. She plays the mom, and the kid, they were actually really good actors. They did a really good job. They played their parts really well, and it wasn't your typical horror film or horror short in this case. It was very well done, and I liked it because it was something different. I won't spoil it again because it actually is pretty good. But yeah, it was pretty good. The next short, I forgot what it was called. I think it was called something. I'm looking up the names, by the way. Okay, so it's called Mr. Tricker's Treat. That one was disturbing, but it was also pretty stupid. It's about a guy who kidnaps kids and hangs them as Halloween decorations, and everyone thinks they're real. Pretty shit, because the acting is horrible, but it was pretty disturbing because there's some pretty disturbing imagery. There's a kid, a teenager, who gets his throat slit with a razor blade, and he vomits in a skeleton costume in a dog cage. He's tied up, and the guy duct tapes his mouth. It's pretty disturbing. And the last short was actually pretty scary. It's called Alex, and that was pretty good. Once I said again, I won't spoil it, but it was actually pretty good. The acting was fine. The visuals were fine. And overall, the concept and the jump scares were actually pretty good in that. However, I don't recommend this movie because even though some of the shorts are good and some of them are really bad, this film's kind of boring. Not to mention, let me say something about this movie. The shorts are free on YouTube. That's right. These fucking filmmakers, they were too lazy to make their own shorts. So they asked these directors, hey, can we use your shorts for our film? And they're like, oh yeah, sure. And then I looked it up, and you could watch the films on YouTube for free. And literally this movie was like, okay, you buy our DVD, you buy our product, so you can see our short films. It's like, but wait, why would I do that when I could just watch them for free on YouTube? It's like, so stupid. It is so stupid. And I'm so glad they did not make a third one. Oh, jeez, Jack. I'm not going to give a rating for these shorts because they're bad. Even the good ones have a lot of flaws that I'm too lazy to talk about because I'm really tired, and this film was really disappointing. I'll admit the concept was cool, adding more shorts, but I think that's what made this film feel a little bit more boring, is that there's so many shorts and they weren't even that interesting. Only a few of them are interesting, but because they're mixed in with these other shorts that aren't too good, it doesn't work. And I don't recommend this because I kind of lost interest in the movie halfway through. I actually fell asleep. I literally went on my phone like a few times because I was like, oh, this is boring. It's really boring. I would give this movie a D+, a 4 out of 10, and 2 out of 5. Mainly because I do think some of the shorts were cool, but I don't think it's enough to save this movie. Well, I guess the next film we should review is Dark Walkers. I've never heard of it. I don't know anything about it, so I thought, why not? Let's review it. It's Halloween themed. Why not? I'm too lazy to do that, sure.